We begin with a Fox News alert, a Supreme Court stunner. President Trump now narrowing down his list of potential replacements for Justice Anthony Kennedy.
Yep, he's working on that list. He's checking it twice. It'll be his second Supreme Court nominee in less than 2 years.
This could be the most pivotal moment in President Trump's administration, some say. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Fox and Friends for this very special Thursday. We are here in New York, and Griff Jenkins is live not too far from the Supreme Court in our D.C. bureau. Griff, where do the cards lay right now?
Good morning, guys. It's going to be a big day. And of course, Justice Kennedy was known as the swing vote in the deciding factor in just the last 24 hours on those 5-4 rulings on the travel ban in public sector unions. But at times, he was a champion of abortion rights and same-sex marriage. In a letter to the president, Justice Kennedy expressed his profound gratitude for having had the privilege to see in each case how best to know, interpret, and defend the Constitution and the laws that must always conform to its mandates and promises. Now, President Trump has a real opportunity to truly shape the ideological balance of the High Court.
Kennedy's retirement makes the issue of Senate control one of the vital issues of our time, the most important thing we can do. Democrats want judges who will rewrite the Constitution any way they want to do it.
Expect the president to nominate a constitutional conservative, likely similar to his first pick, Neil Gorsuch. In the short list, well, it's not so short. There's 25 names you see there, including some finalists from last time, William Pryor and Thomas Hardiman, as well as Utah Senator Mike Lee. And some are already being touted as possible frontrunners, Judges Brett Kavanaugh and Amy Barrett. Whoever it is, Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell says he wants to vote to confirm them this fall, and it is setting up the stage, guys, for a very, very contentious confirmation battle.
You think so? We finally get some tension in Washington for a change. It'll be good just to diffuse things.
We're going to be interviewing Mike Lee, and his brother is also on the list.
Right.
2 Lees are on the list.
Holy cow. Meanwhile, we've got, as you can see right there, Judge Andrew Napolitano, Fox News judicial analyst,
who is supposed to be on vacation right now.
Right, it was supposed to be away this week.
I know.
The way the cards fall.
So the way the cards fall right now is the Republicans do have a 1-vote majority in the Senate, but John McCain is out. And so now everybody, up on Capitol Hill, they're going, well, why don't we follow the Biden rule because it's an election year, wait until after the election? Didn't that only apply to presidential election years?
Yes, it did only apply to presidential elections. And these rules are just precedents. They're not rules that the government has enacted. It's basically what the party in power decided to do at the time.
Right.
But what Mitch McConnell did in not holding a hearing, we were talking about this before, on Judge Garland, he has, whoever the majority leader, has that absolute power not to hold the hearing. He also has the absolute power to hold the hearing, which, of course, he said yesterday in defiance of Chuck Schumer that he will do. I have to tell you that I believe the issue will be abortion, because Justice Kennedy, even though he's a daily mass attending, daily Roman Catholic, is pro-choice. And everybody on that list, Griff just put the screen of 25, every single person on that list is pro-life. So the Democrats will see this is the potential demise of Roe v. Wade. I don't know that it is. Steve and I were talking about this before the show started. I don't know that the Chief Justice, who's also pro-life and Catholic, will want to undo Roe v. Wade because of his views about legacy, that you don't change a major decision just because of an election. But the Democrats will perceive it that way. And they have 2 allies amongst the Republicans who are fiercely pro-choice, Senator Lisa Murkowski and Senator Susan Collins. So there's...
Can't lose either.
Can't lose either unless you pick off somebody like Senator McCaskill, who's running for re-election, comes from a very Catholic state, Missouri, or John Tester, or Heidi Heitkamp, or somebody like that.
Before the election.
The vote will definitely be before the election.
So, did we...
You say vote. The vote on the candidate, the nominee.
So, let me test your memory a little bit. Did Ronald Reagan know, and did the world know, what Anthony Kennedy, how he felt about abortion?
No, and he didn't know it about Sandra Day O'Connor either. And the pro-life people were harshly critical of their hero, Ronald Reagan, for picking 2 people who single-handedly saved Roe versus Wade in a case called Casey versus Planned Parenthood, in which they and Justice David Souter wrote a very unique and bizarre opinion called the Joint joint opinion. It wasn't signed by any of the three of them. They wrote it in Justice O'Connor's living room. There's a lot of crazy anecdotal stories about it, but it saved abortion. Scalia and company thought they had the votes to overturn Roe versus Wade.
Judge, when you look at the list of the 25, the president says he's definitely picking someone from that list of 25.
Darn it.
Do you know? I know. I actually thought that yesterday. I looked to see if your face was up there. There are a few that stand out the most. Do you know any of these, and what can you tell us?
Well, Judge Hardiman is a very, very good friend, ally, and protege of the president's sister. And they sat on the United States Court of Appeals for the Third Circuit, where Justice Alito sat before he was on the bench.
Wasn't he kind of the runner-up last time?
He was the runner-up last time. Judge Brett Kavanaugh, who John Roberts, our White House guru, says is the leading candidate, is a former clerk of Justice Kennedy, is fiercely pro-life, is very traditionalist in his views.
Two women as well.
Judge Amy Coney Barrett, whom I know, she's a fellow Domer, she's a Notre Dame person, Brian. She not only was just put on the United States Court of Appeals for the Seventh Circuit in Chicago, she was added personally and publicly by the president to the list just 2 months ago. Judge Emil Thapar of the Sixth Circuit Court of Appeals is a minority. Judge Joan Larson of the Sixth Circuit Court of Appeals, the president just put her there from the Supreme Court of Michigan, and he just added her to the list. Judge Ray Kethledge was one of the 3 or 4 finalists last time as well. So the president knows some of these people. Of the 25, I can tell you how I think this will work. He has a team of people inside the White House and outside the White House who are combing through everything these people have said, not only in their judicial opinions, but in their public speeches. That will help him narrow it to 3 or 4. The president will personally interview the 3 or 4 alone, one-on-one, and from that choose the person.
Right or wrong, a lot of it will have to do about their background and how they ruled on different cases and how controversial those cases were. Even with Judge Gorsuch, they were zeroing in on 1 or 2 cases and making him seem like a zealot.
There are a lot of sleeper issues that mean a big deal to those of us who watch this, that sort of escape the attention of the public, and the Democratic staff on the Senate Judiciary Committee is aware of those issues, and I assure you that they're combing judicial opinions as well.
If you're 60, you're out, because he watched him last night. He wants someone to serve for 40 years.
Did you have to say that?
You're not 60 yet, Judge. But the thing is, because he said, I want somebody there for 40 years. I can be there till you're 100.
He's talking about somebody who's in their 40s or even in their 30s.
Did you hear the Politico reporter was recording at the DNC Rules Committee conference, and their reaction when they learned that he was stepping down or he was going to retire, and they knew our president was going to appoint a Republican or a conservative. This was their reaction. Listen to this.
Justice Anthony Kennedy has just announced that he's retiring. All the more reason. Yes, he just announced it. Oh my God! Got it. Not that he's done us any good on these recent decisions, but he was the one occasionally persuadable. This is not good news.
So when Justice Scalia joined the court, Justice O'Connor became the swing vote. When Justice O'Connor retired, Justice Kennedy became the swing vote. Do you see a pattern?
Yep.
The least conservative of the conservative bloc moves over to become the swing vote. Who do I believe will be the swing vote when this new nominee, whoever he or she is confirmed? The Chief Justice, who has great relationships and even some ideological alliances. He saved Obamacare. He, as you know, I would have joined with the 4 liberals on requiring police to get search warrants before they can go into cell phones. But let me tell you, we have never had in the modern era a Chief Justice who's the swing vote. That will make him the most powerful Chief Justice since Earl Warren in the Eisenhower years.
Judge, how old is Ginsburg?
84.
How old is Breyer?
82.
If President Trump gets another 4 years,
he'll have 5 nominees. He will, which is the most that any president in the modern era. When he and I spoke, he said, this is a while ago now, who had the most influence on the court? I said, well, put aside George Washington, who obviously appointed the entire first court, Nixon and FDR. Why? They each appointed 5. But FDR had far more because he was more concerned with the ideological purity of the people that he appointed. And I said to him, Mr. President, you might have 5. Look at just the way biology and time affects history.
If they wanted to overturn Roe versus Wade, I doubt that will really happen, right? But if they wanted to, how would they bring that back and do it again?
Okay, I don't know that the Chief Justice, Catholic though he is, pro-life though he is, will want to do this. He is of the view that public opinion, even elections are important and they make a difference. It's why Donald Trump is there. They have consequences.
A lot of Christians voted for him for this reason.
Correct. But the Chief Justice is of the view that when something has been the law for so long, the people have planned their lives on it, that a single election shouldn't change it. But to go to your question, if it is invalidated, that would leave it up to the states. So abortion, which is lawful up to the moment of birth in New Jersey, regrettably, will stay the way it is in New Jersey. It'll be lawful in New York. It'll be unlawful in Pennsylvania. I'm just sort of picking the way I think the states will go.
So many things to think about. Such a gigantic decision is on the president's shoulders. Judge, you're coming back in about 2 hours. Go study up.
I'm going to see if I can get some more information.
You're going to try to refund those JetBlue tickets to Italy.
Oh,
that's what you're going to try to do.
What I'm really trying to do is to hold myself out as being lower than 60.
Hey, Jillian, what's on your mind?
I have a lot on my